Here's an article from boingboing.net. I came across it like 2 weeks ago, and now I'm doing a video on it. It says in Oakland, 911 is a joke. And be prepared for you're not being able to dial 911 because 911, they're going to go out of business soon. Okay? Before I read this article, I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakaha Kwadash. Double honor to the elders and to the apostles of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace and blessings to all the sincere brethren that do believe in Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. To you I say Shalom. Oakland, California has been a legendarily rough place for as long as I can remember. Emergency response times are awful and getting worse. So it's already awful, but it's getting worse. It's not getting better. Residents report they no longer bother calling because that will end up on hold for over 10 minutes. Staff shortages, a high volume of calls, and aging infrastructure leave the city in a fight it appears they cannot win. Even law enforcement officers can't get help when they call for it. Wow. So even the law enforcement officers can't get help when they call for it. Wow.
There's a 911 calling crisis, and in Oakland, it's far worse than any other city or even county in the state. One man tells us that he had to wait more than 10 minutes to talk to a dispatcher. In another case, an Oakland police officer was stabbed, and his 911 calls failed to connect. Investigative reporter Candace Wynn brings this issue to city leaders.
Oakland's 911 system is waiting to fail catastrophically. Those are words right out of this recent Alameda County grand jury report. Our investigative unit also analyzed statewide call records showing Oakland and another Bay Area 911 center are the worst in the state when it comes to answering times.
Oakland emergency number 19. Hi, 6th and Jefferson. A police officer just got stabbed by a homeless person.
Officer Danny Chor was off duty when a woman stabbed him in the neck. The profusely bleeding officer used his cell phone to call 911, and his repeated calls failed to connect, according to a grand jury report at the time.
Yeah, a police officer just got stabbed. Okay.
The caller is a waste management supervisor. You're hearing her voice because not only were the officer's 911 calls failing to connect, according to the report, her employee, a garbage truck operator who drove past the scene, also tried calling 911, and his calls also could not get through. You're hearing his voice only because he's on his supervisor's speakerphone as she called 911 for him. Details about this dangerous delay were published in the civil grand jury's 2019-2020 report, which was prompted by a complaint about law. 911 call wait times in Oakland. In 2020, Oakland's average 911 answering time was 28 seconds, nearly double the state and national standard of 15 seconds. According to state 911 data obtained by the investigative unit, Oakland's average 911 answering time has gotten far worse. This year, it's nearly doubled to 54 seconds.
I did call 911, and the experience is absolutely horrible.
Alan Liang owns an Oakland auto shop and uses this tow yard. He says he wishes his 911 calls were picked up in 54 seconds.
But when I call 911, usually you're on hold approximately 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
10 minutes before I arrive.
10 seconds.
10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Just last week, Liang called 911 to report a missing person and says he was on hold for 7 minutes. Last September, he found a crushed body in his tow yard, and this happened.
So this is where I found the dead body a while back. I immediately dialed 911. I was placed on hold for maybe about 10 or 15 minutes.
And that's after Liang says his 911 calls repeatedly failed to connect, just like what happened with the stabbed officer. If you times for 911 callers are clearly unacceptable, and that Mayor Sheng Tao has directed that 911 call taker vacancies be given top-tier priority. But just last week, in the mayor's recently approved city budget, Mayor Tao froze a full-time communication dispatcher position. When we repeatedly asked to sit down with the mayor for an interview about that decision and Oakland's 911 system, she refused.
I just feel like the city leaders are not taking this issue seriously.
According to a new civil grand jury report released last month, Oakland's 911 phone system was recently replaced. But Oakland still faces staff shortages, a record number of 911 calls, and 911 software and hardware that is so out of date, the police department is forced to buy replacement parts on eBay. Motorola has only one technician who still knows how to work on the 20-year-old software. When asked about the report, the mayor declined an interview again.
Okay, they're not waiting for the ambulance. Okay.
An ambulance never made it to the Oakland police officer who was stabbed. He was just 2 blocks away from police headquarters. Before his 911 calls could connect, his fellow officers put him in the back of a patrol car.
Yeah, just put him in the car and you're going to take him to the hospital.
He survived, but grand jurors at the time said the 911 system's multiple failures in this situation almost cost the officer his life.
It's
So it's about to get very, 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 very dangerous out here. Okay. "911 will go out of business ultimately because it's going to be no jobs for Egypt pretty soon. Okay? And this is spiritual Egypt. America's Egypt, spiritually. So you're not going to be able to call 911 for help. You're not going to be able to call the firefighters or the paramedics because it's going to get so bad, they're going to have to defend for themselves too. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1, it says, difficult times will come, right? This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. And when you read the NIV, it says there will be terrible times in the last days. Terrible, right? And let's look up the word perilous. Hard to do, to take, to approach. Hard to bear, troublesome, dangerous, harsh, fierce, savage. savage times, harsh, hard to bear, hard to approach. Times like that are here and very near as well, okay? Because the plagues are not slack. You're not going to be able to call 911 for help pretty soon in all 50 states. So let's go to 2nd Esdras, chapter 8, verse 50. And it reads, "For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. So many great miseries shall be done to them." It's talking about in these last days. So with that, all praises, honor, glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakudash, Shalom.